So, do we want to get started?
Yep, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm happy to get started.
Okay. So, good morning, Nerdfighteria.
Yep.
We're great at this, aren't we?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we're so...
Yep.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Emmy. This is my voice if you've never heard it before. I'm the admin on Nerdfighteria.
And I'm Pancakes, the other one of those. This is my voice.
Nice to talk to you. So this is, for people who are possibly new, we recently did a census of the server. It ran for about a month. We do hope to start doing these yearly, but in Hank Green style. Pancakes and I are going to kind of just go through what data we got, talk about how we think it's interesting, and then, with any luck, we'll do this next year and be able to compare it. Yeah. So right here you can see that we got 101 responses, which is pretty good, I think, for our first one.
That's about 10% of our members, which is good.
Yeah, very first question, how old are you? So we can see we're very much in the late teen to young adult range.
Hold on, what's the 41%? Just stay on that a bit longer.
19 to 24.
Oh, 19 to 24, okay.
So, smack in the middle of my age range. Or like, I am smack in the middle of that age range.
And I'm guessing all the green one is old person.
Actually, the green one is 35 to 44, which I don't think is not particularly old. Let's be a little nice.
Yeah. No one's 45 plus, at least, that answered it.
Which surprised me a little bit. Like, I did think that we had at least a few middle-aged people, which you're correct, they may just not have responded to the survey. I will say, there's 2 people on the server who answered the survey who are 12 or under. Discord does have a rule that you should be 13, so just don't tell us. It's nice to know what our server age distribution is, but if you are under 13, just don't attach a username to that.
Yeah. I do think these questions are all anonymous, but yeah.
Everything's anonymous, so that's not a worry. Just as a point of caution, you shouldn't, tell anyone that you were under 13 on Discord, because it is up to the admins of the server to make sure that there's nobody breaking the TOS on their server. Terms of service. And this one's a little hard to look at. I actually think I need to zoom out a bit to be able to see it well. And then honestly, it might just be easiest to go to this chart, where it has numbers, but it's not super well set up.
Can you sort the chart?
I cannot. I just get to see the choices and how many people responded to them. So what we can also do is just kind of scroll to see.
The big one US?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very, very easy to tell. We can't quite reach. Let's just zoom out a hair more. It'll make it a little harder to read, but I can read it out what we're saying. Our next biggest one is Germany, which really surprised me for a moment. But then also, we've got quite a few very active German people, especially they've been talking in language chop suey for the past few days. So
what's the 70.9?
7.92. I'm pretty sure that is UK. Let's zoom out one more here so we can maybe fit things in. It is the UK. The UK and Canada. And
then Orange, I guess, is the only other one that's remotely big.
Orange is Australia!
Nice!
Yeah.
How many is that? 3?
3, yep. But y'all are there!
Okay.
Then we've got Belgium, Brazil, 2 from France, 2 from India, which I did not know, Israel, which is also one I didn't know, which I think is very cool, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, come here, Paraguay, which is another new one to me, the Philippines, Poland, can't quite say that one, Singapore, Sweden, and Switzerland. It's really interesting to me, this diversity of countries that we've got, especially in this little very small amount range here.
Yep. Yeah, no surprise that the US is much bigger.
Yeah.
But very cool that there's lots of other people.
Mm-hmm. We still have both the plurality and the majority, but I feel like that's changing. Like, the German capacity of the server has definitely gone up recently, even if it's not something that we can reflect in the survey. Which I think is interesting. But that'll be fun to compare in later years, I think. Scrolling past all of these. I should have just closed it. Okay. This is another one we might actually just need to scroll out for. So, again, no surprise, we're very white. Which I think is also reflective of the Vlogbrothers audience. Also tends to be very white, perhaps not as white as our server has been. But I don't remember the numbers for that specifically.
Oh, we should have pulled up a comparison to his...
We should have done...
his recent server.
That is something we can do pretty quickly. I can look for it and then... Yeah. Okay, so they are 80... So, the Nerdfighteria census as of 2017 has 86.84% white, and we are... Ooh, that's a sneak peek. 88.12. So, we're about the same, actually. I wish they put labels on these. So then we have 3% Black, 7% Hispanic or Latino, 3% East Asian, 3% South Asian, 6% Indian, 5% Southeast Asian, and then I think this one is Middle Eastern and Arabic, Native American or Alaska Native. We also had another category, which told me something as the person who made the survey.
What were the...
Everyone who, except for the person who I think clicked it by mistake, put Jewish. So that was not something that I thought to include. I just kind of forgot.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I just kind of forgot that people can be both ethnically and religiously Jewish. And is that... I don't think that's on here either. It is not. But it does look like we generally reflect similar stats to Nerdfighteria as a whole.
Yep.
So next up is gender, which we are quite female. Not quite as much as the general Vlogbrothers audience. But still quite a bit so.
What's the other one? So we've got male, female, non-binary, and what's the purple?
Agender.
Oh, okay.
And then we had one person who hit other, which let me go ahead and grab that and see what they had to say. Not sure, which is indeed something I should have put on here. I put it on the sexuality one and not on the gender one. I just didn't think about it. Especially considering it is on the Vlogbrothers one. See, I do think it's kind of cool that our non-binary population is so high. I wonder what is different between our audience versus our user base versus the general fans of the Vlogbrothers one that happens.
Yeah.
And then this. We are overwhelmingly cis. And then we do have a pretty decent trans population at 6.45%.
And how many is that in terms of real numbers?
6.
Okay.
So we only had 101 responses, so it's pretty easy to, from percentages, I could honestly just say numbers, because the percentages are easy enough to find, and they're also written on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
We had a lot of other responses to this one, I think in part because the question was not well written, so people didn't quite know what it was asking. So we had some people who put their gender again, this person who specifically said that they don't know what it means. And then this is one that I had to look up, but no longer remember. So we're going to look it up so that everyone can learn a thing. It seems like a specific version of non-binary gender identity.
Well, that's interesting to learn about.
Definitely. But yeah, for people who were answering the survey and we were a bit confused by this, we did want to find out how much of the server was cis versus trans versus intersex, or just otherwise how basically gender interacts with the rest of our server. Someone did mention that they aren't sure what these terms mean. I am a cis person, so I'm not the best to give a lecture on it, but I'll try to be brief in saying that and then this is the question that people got a little bit confused with the cis versus trans versus intersex question of what is your sexual orientation. We're pretty heterosexual. And then next up is bisexual, boop, boop, ace, pan. Homosexual is actually quite small, which I thought was very interesting. Amuses me a little bit because you tend to think of there being almost like a 50-50 split between heterosexual and homosexual people, and obviously that is nowhere near the case. We've got a lot of unsure people. That's okay. Either you'll figure it out or you won't, and you'll learn to be okay with not really knowing. And then our other responses were demi, which is definitely a thing I should have included, which I apologize for. Oh. No, don't do that. There we go.
Well, over the years, I guess we'll get hopefully less others because we'll include more things for people.
Yeah. We'll start knowing what kind of answers people are looking to give.
Yeah.
Next up is employment status, which I hope I formatted well. Because I personally did not
like it.
Yeah, I did not like the way Hank formatted it. So, of the people not in school, the majority like their job, which is good to hear. I'm glad that you're doing okay. Thankfully, not a lot of people don't like their job. And I do feel bad for those of you who are unemployed and need to be working, but hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. Good for the in-school people who don't need a job, which I was surprised to find we had a pretty good... we have almost as many people who have a job and like it in school as people who don't need a job in school.
Maybe for the future ones we could change don't have a job and don't want/need, because some people need a job to support themselves, but they don't want one. Yeah. I don't know. I thought about that, but my logic was that if you need a job, you still also kind of want one because you want to have the money that you need to live. Yeah, I see.
If that makes sense. I don't know. It is not a large change, and I see no reason not to institute it, which is fair. Next up is the actual status of education.
It's very, very varied.
Very varied, but I was, again, surprised how many people we still have in secondary school, which is going to be like the 14 to 18-year-old age range, but I guess that does reflect what our age status or age percentages were. A lot of people still in college. Good quarter of us actually have finished undergrad. Good for you guys. And either in or working on graduates, which, very good for you. Oh, I did not realize this is new since the last time I checked. We have somebody with a doctorate. That's awesome. And then our one other, I think, was a technical school of some kind. Oh. Polish equivalent of middle school. So that's...
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. That's one of our 12-year-olds. Hush, hush. An associate's degree. I don't know where that is at.
I'll do a quick Google.
Sounds good.
Alright, so it's an associate's degree, undergraduate, academic, you can get from colleges or unis. It lasts 2 years or more, and it's considered to be higher than the general education from high school or from a GED, which...
A GED...
That's according to Wikipedia.
Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense now. A GED is a certification you can basically get either if you did not finish high school at the time. You can go back and get your GED to say that you have completed a high school education. Or if you're going to graduate school, you have to take the GED again to prove that you didn't forget everything from high school. So, yeah. That is a good thing to include. I'm glad that this person filled it out because, yeah, associate's degrees are important. They aren't given enough credit, in my opinion. People basically either think you need to go to four-year college or not at all.
Well, that's interesting.
And Hogwarts House.
I am not surprised.
Yeah, not at all surprised at overwhelmingly Ravenclaw. I am proud of my Hufflepuffs, though. We're up there. I'm glad.
And then, is it the exact same for Slytherin and Gryffindor?
It is an exact 50-50 split. They're warring, as always.
Still... Great.
Yeah, but still combined, they're not even enough to beat Hufflepuffs.
I'm just proud of the Ravenclaws.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm super proud, though.
Good for y'all. Standing together. Nerds. Find other nerds. And then folks who joined Discord. I should have asked why people joined Discord as well, because this 2018 being so high, it makes me wonder if people joined Discord because John advertised the Fans of an Absolutely Remarkable Thing server, and then people found the Nerdfighteria server through that.
I know quite a few people did, but I didn't think that many people joined Discord.
Me neither, yeah. I thought it was a lot of people who knew about Discord and then just found the servers because Hank and John were talking about them, not that they joined a totally new platform because Hank and John were talking about it. Not a huge surprise with lots of people in 2016 and 2017. And then a couple people all the way back in 2015, back when Discord was brand new. Good to hear folks have stuck with it.
Quite impressive.
I'll be honest, I was expecting to get more 2019 people. We were, of course, you remember Pancakes, and I'm sure quite a few people on the server remember that in the lead up to Life's Library, we were expecting a huge flood comparable to when the Fans of an Absolutely Remarkable Thing server got advertised on the Vlogbrothers main channel. So we had the load of systems set up to prepare for a flood of new users that ended up just kind of gradually trickling in. Which was fine.
Oh, yeah.
We love all you Life's Library folks. I was just expecting to see more people who were joining Discord in 2019 for Life's Library than I was expecting to see people joining Discord in 2018 for Fans of an Absolutely Remarkable Thing.
Well, it's only 31. No, it's not. Hold on, what's the date today?
It is the...
It's the 7th for me.
Yeah.
6th for you.
Almost the 7th for me.
We're only nearly 40 days into the year, so I'm not... We finished this...
On the 2nd.
30 days? Yeah, 32. So I'm not too surprised that we don't have that many new people from this year yet.
This is a good point. We'll probably see that go up next year. Well, we definitely will, but we might see its overall percentage.
We could also look at Finn's little chart.
We could.
Graph.
That is a thing that I can pull up pretty quickly. So this was an amazing chart made by the lovely Ev Finn. Everybody give them a hug. And they go in every day and track people who have joined and left the server to keep all of these really awesome detailed charts to see what is going on in the server. So we can go back to 2018 and see where there are huge jumps, like right here in late September. Yeah. When the Fans Been Absolutely Remarkable Things server started getting mentioned on Vlogbrothers. But then this December spike, I don't know what that is for.
Maybe P4A?
Maybe. That is right around when the Project for Awesome was. So people were hearing about the P4A and looking to get more involved in Nerdfighteria. So let's keep this open. We might come back to it. Because the next question is also out of order. We're going to skip down to when did you join this server in particular? And then this is another weird one. Most of the people who responded to this joined in October to December of 2018. Whereas based on Finn's chart, we would expect that to be... Well, no.
October to September.
It's September to October is where our big spikes are. So it was late September when that big spike started. So it does make sense that a lot of those people found it like a couple weeks later and ended up in the October group. And then we have that December spike as well to account for here. Because then, yeah, our next biggest chunk is July to September of last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, it is January 2019, which is, hello, Life's Library, folks. Pretty evenly spread out throughout 2017. What really interests me, actually, is these two people who joined in December of 2016, because that was when this server was founded. It was founded...
Whoa!
Yeah, it was founded on the last day of November in 2016. And I wasn't even on the server yet. For those of you who don't know, the server was actually originally founded by Orotesso and Adam, both of whom have just moved on to other things in life. So they gave the server over to me because I was becoming active in it. So this is... I would be interested to talk to these two people, actually, if you're watching this and still around, to kind of find out, get a good look from you old-timers on how the server has changed and grown. But thank you for sticking with us. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't surprising.
This is more of a jokey question. I honestly should have gone on the silly census, but I liked it too much. What most amuses me is that we have more people who did not know there were theme options than people who actually use light theme.
Yep. I might just say, though, in defense of the light theme people, I'm a dark theme user, so I can't speak for you. But with the accessibility features, at least on mobile, if you have, like, a reading difference and you can't read the colours, you can put a filter on top, and it doesn't work with dark, but it works with light, so it's my only defense of you.
No, that is a very good defense. I appreciate the light theme's existence more, based on that information. So next up is, how did you find the server? Doesn't surprise me too much that a lot of people actually found it via r/Nerdfighteria, which is actually run by our lovely mod Jim, who is not around so much because he now has a little gymlet to take care of. But he does help out both modding on the Nerdfighteria server and runs the Nerdfighteria Reddit page, r/Nerdfighters.
He does lots of stuff.
He does so much stuff. We love you, Jim. We actually had quite a few other responses, but if I remember correctly, a lot of them were people who were just Googling. Oh yeah, they found it through Vlogbrothers. Which is interesting, because we've never been specifically mentioned on Vlogbrothers. It's always been this, like, other set of general Nerdfighter servers, like Life's Library, Fans of Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and Twitaria. So I wonder if people just heard that there was a Discord server and Googled for it.
Do we come up in Google?
We do. A lot of people find us through Google. I don't think that's specifically that the Discord server comes up, because Discord's kind of weird about how you can find servers. My guess is that the people who found us through Google are people who found us through the Reddit page, which comes up
if you look up Nerdfighters Discord first, Tuataria comes up, and then the Reddit page of our unofficial Nerdfighter Discord.
Yeah, that is my guess. Is where lots of people are finding us. A lot of people finding us through the new Nerdfighteria online spaces page on nerdfighteria.com, which is very recent and was made in part, again, with the help of Jim, who talked to some folks at Complexly and got that page up to link a bunch of Nerdfighter Discord servers and Reddit pages and Facebook pages. It's a great resource that people should check out. And then, other than that, we are almost entirely found by people finding us through various Discord servers.
It's surprising that in general, overall, we don't have as much of a Life's Library gain. Even though that was really what we were expecting, for them to take up most of the server.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And also some people from word of mouth, which that's really cool. I don't know if that's in-person word of mouth or on Discord word of mouth, quote unquote.
Oh, word of mouth. Okay, I was thinking, like, a website word of mouth.
Oh.
But, yeah, word of mouth.
Yeah, yep. That's what that is, wordofmouth.com. And then, this is related to the last question of what other Nerdfighter spaces folks are active in. So, what's really interesting to me is that we did not have a lot of people join from Life's Library, but more than half the people who responded to this survey are active in Life's Library. So it was a lot of folks from the Nerdfighteria server headed over to Life's Library, rather than the reverse.
Well, I guess if you use Discord, you're likely going to use the Life's Library.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just sort of came from that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Makes sense. And then lots of folks on OnlyFans have an absolutely remarkable thing, Discord. And then Tuataria.
No surprise.
Yeah. So, majority of people who are active here are also highly active in other Discord servers, no surprise there. And then also Reddit. I'm surprised that Facebook groups are so high up there, because at least from where I'm standing, it seems like Facebook activity among people in the general age group of our server is plummeting off a cliff. Right? Like, no one uses Facebook anymore.
Yeah. I don't really use it.
So this is, which other Nerdfighter spaces are you active in? These people who picked other, which some related Discords, Nerdcrafteria, but this one I specifically wanted to highlight because Josh, the NES nerd, he made a typo in his username, is specifically looking for people who
I've seen him, yeah.
Yeah, he's specifically looking for people who were active on the dftba.net IRC server. I don't know what that is, but if you know what that is, you should definitely reach out to Josh, the NES nerd. Okay, so these questions are gonna be a little...
Whoa.
Yeah, a little weird to go over, because there was some discussion in Dear Nerdfighteria about having the option to put this green one here, which is that you don't use something, which meant that we couldn't have these questions do a ranking system, where people just, like, literally move it up and down so that it shows us how many people put YouTube in their top 1%, etc. So it's come out in a little bit of a mess.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. Well,
we can get general trends.
I'm not surprised that YouTube and Discord are quite high.
Mm-hmm.
Because Discord is our thing. We are a Discord server. But also YouTube is where all the Vlog Brothers content and Hank's channel and the Crash Course and the stuff.
Mm-hmm. And not only are they often places people's first place, they stay high on people's list pretty much universally, as opposed to something like Twitch, which is where there's a good chunk of people who place it high, but then everybody else either places it low or doesn't use it at all. There's like not much of a middle ground here. And the same thing for Snapchat, which I was surprised at how many people are really into their Snapchats.
Yeah.
But good for y'all. So yeah, but it seems like YouTube and Discord are the overwhelming favorites, with Reddit close behind, which again is not surprising considering how people found us. And then Instagram is also pretty high up there, which interested me a lot.
What interests me is mostly Facebook, because we have a good range of people that use it a lot. We have a lot of don't use, but we have a lot of lower, like, 9s and 10s for the people that check it, like, once a month or so, like me, really.
Yeah, well, there is a don't use. It's certainly not among our highest don't use sections. It's... Facebook kind of runs the gamut of use, but it falls pretty low on people's enjoyment list.
Yeah.
And then the fun thing is to try and compare this to the next question, which is how much time you spend on them.
Oh, gosh.
But I think one thing we can start off with pretty easily is by saying that Discord and YouTube are both really high up among enjoyment, and also quite high up among time spent, but not quite as high. Is that making any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
People don't spend quite as much time on YouTube and Discord as they do relative to their enjoyment, but it's still very much the top.
I'm not surprised that YouTube is, like, you get on YouTube and you do tend to watch a lot of videos. So I'm quite surprised it's not so much time spent as much as...
Yeah, I'm surprised that, it makes sense that it's higher than Discord. I'm surprised that that gap is not larger. Whereas, another one that really interests me is that we talked about how Facebook was kind of middling to low on people's priorities, but it does seem pretty high up on time spent. Like, 30% of people put it in their top 4. Whereas only about 23% put it in their top 4 of enjoyment. People spend a lot more time on Facebook relative to how much they actually enjoy it. And
Facebook.
Yeah, same things for Twitter and not Tumblr. Tumblr looks to be about the same. But Twitter is another one where people spend a lot more time on it than they say they enjoy it. Which I think is another one that makes sense. Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr are all ones where you can just kind of sit there and scroll. Right?
Yeah.
And just...
a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just wasted.
Just scroll forever and ever and ever. Whereas Twitch is one that people enjoy quite a lot and don't spend much time on. But I guess that's because watching Twitch kind of relies on somebody else's timetable.
Yeah.
And then another one closely related, how much do you spend on the internet per day?
This one's interesting.
I admire you 2 to 4 hour people. Good for y'all, keeping it in check.
I'm not surprised there aren't any 0 to 1s, because we're an internet-based community. And I don't think there are any in real life. Really? Not anymore.
Yeah. Of people who have access to the internet, it is hard to spend less than an hour a day.
Yeah. Especially if you include work with that.
Yeah.
You might spend 6 hours at work and then come home and only spend an hour relaxing, but still 7 hours.
Yeah. But other than that, we're kind of pretty evenly spread. It is clear that we spend a lot of time on the internet. 23% of people spend more than 8 hours a day on it, which I know if I count in just like the times that I open up Discord and check it between classes, or I scroll through Instagram while I'm cooking dinner, I'm definitely in this group.
I'm surprised there's not more 6 to 8 people and then less of the red. I can't see what red is at the moment.
The 4 to 6.
Yep.
My guess is that this 4 to 6 number has a lot to do with we have a lot of people who are still in middle school, high school, where you spend a good chunk of your day at school with no internet access, practically. Like, at least in the US, you can't have your phone at school in the vast majority of schools, and so...
Whoa. I would say I'm probably an 8-hour yellow person, because 6 hours or so of my day is at school, and every single one of those classes I use a computer. So that's interesting.
Yeah. The US is weird about phone access at school.
Oh yeah, I don't use a phone though. But have someone call me.
The anxiety related to that. And then how many books do you read per year? We're very good readers. Runs kind of the gamut, but goddamn, you more than 50 people. That is incredibly impressive. My instinct is to call people who read, like, in this, like, 1 to 15 a year range moderate, but I think that's actually, like, when you start getting into, like, the 10 to 15 thing, that's actually quite high for nowadays.
That's
go ahead.
Just over 1 a month, so it's quite high, I'd say. But if you compare it to the average American,
yeah,
because we're mostly American.
Like, I know personally, if we're discounting academic books, because I don't read those for pleasure, I read them out of necessity, I'm only in this 3 to 10 area. But I think that I'm quite average compared to other people. So.
According to this Bustle website, it's about 4 to 12 books a year for an American, I think. So that kind of, I mean, I know we're above average, but that makes sense.
Yeah, but that roughly matches up saying that, like, people in this pink group we're about average for amount of books read per year, which means that, yeah, the overwhelming majority of Nerdfighters read a lot. So good for y'all. Very good for y'all. And then server events. This is something we've been talking about on a mod level. How many Nerdfighteria server events have you participated in? A lot of people have not participated in any. Which is something as mods we want to change. We want to get the community more involved. So a lot of people participated in the text or voice chat during the Project for Awesome live stream, which was a ton of fun. And then after that, it's people who've joined in open mic nights, the impromptu music listening, impromptu voice chatting, then games nights, all the way down to productivity streams is our last one.
I haven't seen too many of those around, but definitely am aware that they're kind of a thing.
We talked about briefly making a role for them, but they haven't been used so much. So I think not doing so has so far been the right call. But I did a couple, and they're very nice to have. I do think our impromptu voice chatting amount of people who have participated has gone up lately.
Yep.
And just in the past couple of days since we've recorded this, there has been a lot of impromptu voice chatting, just kind of people hanging out for several hours in the voice chat stream, which is really awesome to see. So, yeah, we are, if you have ideas,
what
please...
was our
No, go ahead.
other one, up the top, the very small one?
Our one other...
Oh, it was actually an other.
It was actually an other, yes.
Okay.
an impromptu piano concert, which I feel
yes.
I feel like that's a Mr. Apple response.
I think that's, yep.
Good for
or
you.
Someone listening to him.
Yeah. But yeah, if folks have ideas for ways that we could make these server events a little more engaging, because we do kind of want the server to be an active place where you can come and either host your own events or participate in ongoing ones, please let us know.
Yeah.
And then this one is harder to read, unfortunately. So we're going to have to zoom out a little bit to be able to see what other non-server events people participated in. So our highest is, no surprise, people who've participated in a Nerdfighteria general census, because those people are also the kind of people who are likely to fill out a server census.
Yep. The love of data is common among many nerds.
Oh, yeah. And then next one up is a project for Awesome, which is super cool. And then our next highest tied are the Art Tour and the Turtles All the Way Down Tour, which is pretty cool. I don't know why I'm surprised that these numbers are the same. I don't know which one I thought would be higher, but it is pretty cool. And then our next highest one is this, like, purple color, which would be none. Which is understandable. It's hard to get to a lot of Nerdfighter events, or if you're new in Nerdfighteria, you may have missed things like the Project for Awesome.
You can always fill out the census.
You can always fill out the census. We love the census. We love data. The Nerdfighteria General Census for 2018 has already happened. Obviously, it's now 2019, so that is a bit redundant. But there should be Hank's analysis coming out of it pretty soon, which we've used briefly in this video, so you'll have seen the 2017 one. A lot of folks participating in Nerdfighter gatherings. Hank and John show for previous years, though, that's like back in the 2007 to 2010 range, so good for this one person who went to NerdCon Stories. I'm happy for you. And then we've got a good chunk of people who went to VidCon. I say a good chunk, but we have some people who made it to VidCon, which is awesome. And then a Hank Green and the Perfect Strangers show, which I'm also a little surprised that we actually have as many people who made it to a Hank Green and the Perfect Strangers show as have made it to VidCon, because VidCon has happened for several years, whereas Hank Green and the Perfect Stranger was on tour for like 3 months. But I guess that they did go to multiple places, whereas VidCon is always in one place, and it's kind of hard to get there.
VidCon is more international, though. You have the American one, and you have the Australian, and I think there's a European one.
They are doing a European one. They did the first one in Amsterdam, and I think this one's in UK now. But yeah, that's true. That it's interesting that these numbers are so close. Here's another fun one.
Oh.
These almost look like art pieces. They're a little incomprehensible. But no surprise that Vlogbrothers is people's favorite. Almost overwhelmingly. Nobody says that they don't care about it. Dark Blue, by the way, is people who just don't care about that particular project.
What's the really big don't care? I can't quite read it.
PBS Eons, which I did not know existed, so I feel really bad for PBS Eons, because it's quite low on people's list of priorities. I'm still not entirely sure what it is. I believe that it's a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it looks to make educations on evolving. I think it's a biology type channel.
That makes sense.
I think.
That would make sense if it's PBS Eons and it's about evolution. Yeah, so poor PBS Eons. Also low on people's list of priorities are the art assignment, which is sad to me. I loved the art assignment when it was first opening, but it makes a lot of sense because the channel has kind of moved on and is no longer doing assignments so much. Also low are the podcasts, which is unfortunate.
I'll delete this. Yeah, poor delete this. Anthropocene Review is quite high up there. Among the people who enjoy it, they enjoy it quite a bit, which is good for that. But other than that, everything kind of runs the gamut. John and Hank's books are still quite high. But we've got...
No surprise, of course, the Vlogbrothers is very, very high.
Mm-hmm. And Crash Course is also quite high. Not quite as high... No, it's a little bit higher up on people's list than the books, if I'm interpreting this graph correctly. SciShow and Crash Course both end up higher on people's lists than the books themselves. Probably, again, to do with our very school-age user base.
They're also a bit quicker than a book to watch a 12-minute video rather than read a... I don't know how long they are, the books.
Yeah.
So it's easier to get involved with them.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And Dear Hank and John, actually, I was just saying that the podcasts are... they're not particularly... popular, but among the people who do like them, they like them a lot. Dear Hank and John is the exception to that, in that lots of people like it, and they like it a lot. Which is quite cool. Because a lot of people also actually talk about how they found us through Dear Hank and John, because John mentioned a Nerdfighteria Discord server. He was in fact talking about Tuataria at the time, but I still appreciate...
But they found us!
Yeah, still appreciate that you found us. Next up, more of a Hank or more of a John? Lots of Hanks, not so many Johns.
Poor John.
Poor John. I mean, the numbers are close. The other one is depends on the day. This was based in...
Oh, okay.
It's based entirely off of a Hank question, where he had just... Are you Hank, John, depends on the day? Definitely neither. Which
How
means
many was neither?
For our neither, it was 6 people.
Oh,
yeah.
Poor 6 people. I mean, I guess you might not care.
Yeah, that's true. What surprises me is that we have almost as many people who said depends on the day as had said Hank. So relatively, John is a fairly small piece of the pie. Not fairly small, but he is a smaller piece of the pie than Hank or the indecisives. I say that I based this off of a census question. I based this off of a 2018 census question, so unfortunately we can't compare it to the 2017 Hank census analysis.
When? Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different data points.
Yes. A little hard to read. So I think we can, if I can cycle it back. No, it does not put these in any kind of order, which is unfortunate. So our highest group is 2016, and then into 2017 and 2018. So it does not surprise me that the plurality, I think is the term I'm looking for. I think it does not surprise me that the plurality of people in the server became Nerdfighters quite recently. Just because Discord is itself a new platform, so people who are finding it also makes sense would be new to finding Nerdfighteria. It does interest me that so many people found it in 2016 specifically. A lot of folks in this...
Who's out?
Sorry, go ahead.
Earliest.
Our earliest, I think we did have a 2007. We don't.
A 2007, whoa!
We don't. We have a 2000. We have 4 people who found him in 2008.
Go you!
Yeah, still very early. Yeah, so we have people from a good spread. Not a lot of early folks. And then there's a good chunk of people who aren't sure, so they asked for the option to give a general time period, which we can look at. 2014, I think. I hate time. But this is again falling in that like 2012 to 2015 range, which I think is a pretty common one for people to find, yeah. These are just some housekeeping mod questions. People saying whether or not they like the idea of condensing the open mic and LFG roles into a single role. A lot of folks who like it, a moderate amount who don't, and then we had some complicated thoughts. A lot of people saying no opinion, which is understandable. I should have put a no opinion option. This person's saying that they think they're both different, which I'm assuming means that they don't think that we should condense them. However, we did just talk about how there have been lots of people who are using the open mic tag as a more of a hangout tag, like this person describes, just in the past couple of days. So despite the large response here being that people are okay with condensing it, I do think we should hold off on that a bit.
Yeah, especially because of the change of server use of it, I guess, really.
Mm-hmm.
More of an impulsive thing now.
Yeah, and especially because...
Although a lot of people have both.
Yeah.
If you have one, most people have both.
Yeah. But it is, I think, nice for people to be able to opt out of one if they don't like the pings that they're getting for it.
Mm.
And it is worth noting that even though 54% of people who responded to this question said they liked that idea, it is only 36 people, only 36% of people who responded to the survey actually said they liked that idea. So I think it is worth holding off.
Yeah,
on.
Quite a few people skipped that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up, if we were to condense some channels, which, if any, do you think could be combined together? And what we're getting is... people understand that this is my personal anxiety, that I think I have a concern as an admin that people will join the server and be overwhelmed by the number of channels. And as we're seeing from...
10 has a really good point.
Yeah. As we are seeing from these responses, if anything could be condensed, some of the voice channels, but most of the response has been, it's fine. Don't bother with it, and or the amount of channels people like having a lot of spaces, so.
I was going to say, I think a lot of them used for very specific but very useful, wouldn't really belong in general kind of chats.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's like slower, more specific conversation.
Yeah. It is nice to have the spaces, so thank you for your enthusiastic response. And then things that people don't like about the server, what they might want us to do better. I will say for this person who wants to know if we can have a channel for general book conversation, we do. It is called...
It's got a weird name.
It is... I'm gonna have to actually specifically go to it and...
Will Grayson, you moved it. Oh, yeah. Yep, there you go.
Will Grayson looks for remarkably abundant faults in our paper turtles.
That is.
It could perhaps use a general, more book-related name.
Maybe we could rename it.
We could rename it, but I think that I think a lot of people like the channel name for the novelty of it, but perhaps we could start using that channel name for a general Vlogbrothers book spoiler channel, perhaps.
Yeah, I think lots of people think it's Vlogbrother specific, which it's not. You can chat about anything.
This is true, yeah. That might be a thing to do, is change... so the current John book spoiler channel is called Spoilers All the Way Down. But a lot of people think that that is a channel specifically for Turtles All the Way Down spoilers, where it is more generally a channel for any John Green book spoiler. So it might be a thing to take Will Grayson looks for remarkably abundant faults in our paper turtles and take the remarkably out of that for absolutely remarkable thing and just use it as the name for a John book spoiler channel, and then change this to a more general books chat one. I wish it was pink. I apologize, we cannot control the color of Discord. This person said...
Although,
no, go ahead.
I wish it was customizable.
Yes, that would be nice.
This person, I was checking on the responses to the survey pretty much the whole time it was open. I would just check every couple of days. And this person said that they would like all the channels to have descriptions. And at the time, I thought that that was too good of a thing to wait on, because I was surprised we did not have descriptions in all of our channels. So I went back and did that.
Thanks for your civic duty.
Yes. I think that this is a consideration worth taking into, perhaps adding a second, slower general channel, or just a side conversation general channel. But that is perhaps something for a longer discussion in general, to see whether it would be used.
We could always trial it.
This is true.
But, yeah.
And just see if it wasn't used. So, anything else folks would like to say? Pasta and chicken meat and rocks and roguishnessecentricity. I tried it. But these are just some really thoughtful responses from folks just saying that they love the community on this server, which is not just us. Absolutely, the vibe of the community on the server has to do with the community. And just...
Should we post these somewhere? Maybe on a Google Doc or somewhere where people can read them? Like the nice comment ones?
The nice comments. Yeah. There's only a handful, but they would be just a nice thing to kind of post. I just want to... I just want to take this as an opportunity to say thank you to the folks who have just joined the server, and whether you've been super involved with it or you've just been kind of hanging out and watching, we really appreciate just how awesome you all have been as Nerdfighters and as users of our server. And...
Oh, gosh.
This is not something that could happen without everyone on the server working together and being awesome. So thank you.
Oh, that's a cool idea, number 27.
A Today I Learned type of channel, that is a cool idea. People, I think, have been using that, have been using Increase Awesome for that a lot.
Yeah, that's nice, especially with all the positive things.
But to me, that speaks to, if we had a Today I Learned channel, that might actually be pretty well used.
And it's fine to add new channels.
It is fine to add new channels. So, I'm glad to see that you were excited to see about the data person. But that is all of the hard, important data that we collected, quote unquote. We also had our silly census, which had a little bit less of a response. These are all questions that people just submitted that they thought would be fun to learn about, but that weren't important enough. Not important enough, but that would have perhaps been annoying on the proper server census. So these are all just kind of entirely random. So when you get takeout, do you eat food out of the provided container, or do you transfer your food to a plate? And
I'm surprised at how many people said plate.
I was surprised at how many people said container. You're heathens.
Are you a plate person?
Yes!
What? Why?
Because leaving, like, if you leave it, like, in a styrofoam or something, you're gonna, like, stab your fork through it, or it just, like, paper gets greasy, and ugh. Put it on a plate.
Maybe I'm more a depends on the food person, but I don't really eat with styrofoam containers. Like, Chinese takeout's already in a plastic box, and pizza's already in cardboard. It's all I really eat takeout-wise.
Fair enough. We do still have most people who say depend on the food, which is a response I understand. Okay, but moving on. What liquid do you combine cereal with? Most people use dairy milk. We have a lot of non-dairy milk folks, a lot of dry cereal eaters. I do have to say, this other response of, I do not enjoy eating cereal, but if I have to, then I might have it with yogurt, is... Actually, no! There are 3 people who said yogurt! What?
I mean, I agree. I do that sometimes.
I've never heard of this.
What sort of cereal do you have, though? Is it, like,
I don't eat
plain
cereal.
or flavored?
I don't like cereal at all.
Well, if you have... I'm trying to think of a plain one. Not like those chocolate ones. But you take plain yogurt, plain cereal, they go well together. You can add fruit as well. It's quite nice.
I guess
Can't add fruit with milk.
I guess it's kind of like a parfait, but like with a parfait you tend to do granola. Interesting.
Yeah, there we go. Semi-blended parfait.
Whole world of cereal, all new to me. This is a weird question. I don't know who is interested in this. A lot of people just at home.
Home.
Good to know.
Home.
A lot of people being clever, saying in the toilet.
School. Oh, someone's really specific here. The toilet at Wet n Wild Sydney.
Yeah.
Which I'm not quite sure I've been to yet, but I'll know that you've been there too. Okay.
You've at least been to the bathroom in it. Someone in the parliament, obviously. So that's an interesting question, and I hope whoever asked it got a response that they are interested in.
Did we put these questions as mandatory as well? Because someone just put dash.
No, these were all optional. These were just you could kind of go through and do whatever you wanted. Next question.
Oh, someone's filling out the census. We should highlight someone's filling out this census on the toilet.
Yeah.
Great.
Good to know. Next up, have you ever written something on the wall of a public bathroom stall? And then if yes, the above what? So only a quarter of people who responded to this have written something on a public bathroom stall. We got some really responses, my favorite of which is a false phone number and the words call for egg. Which I laughed so hard when I read that the first time I almost started crying. I don't know why that is my specific brand of humor. A lot of people don't remember.
Did it when they were young.
Mm-hmm. We had a whole conversation going on at college about literature in the girls' bathroom. That's super cool. Just
that's it.
It's like a forum, but on a bathroom wall. Do you have any dice that have more than 6 sides? So yes, a lot of nerds. Not as many nerds. People who are embarrassed about their multi-sided dice. It's okay. You can live in your...
Who selected those ones?
I just thought it would be a funny answer, so my guess is that it's just...
It's funny, definitely.
It's joke people. But I'll be honest, I am surprised at how many people said yes. So what that says to me is that we have a lot of people who play RPGs, tabletop RPGs. And we've definitely... No, go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised because as we were filming this, someone added LFG and was like, hey, we should play D&D here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really not surprised.
Yeah, that was my exact thing I was going to bring up, is that, like, we've had people asking recently, as Pancakes was saying, about, like, where can I find a D&D group? On Nerdfighteria! They're here! You just gotta find them. Next up, what is something that everyone looks silly doing? And unfortunately...
That's terrible.
It's the worst kind of response that Google could have given us. So it's really hard to read. We had 2 people who responded with sneezing. Which is fascinating that we actually had 2 people say the exact same thing in this. But I'm just gonna
the exact same formatting.
Yeah. We had a couple people say dancing.
I'm trying to copy this data into somewhere that might be happier. Oh no. It doesn't like it. Nope.
No, I'm just kind of slowly scrolling my mouse across it. Putting on mascara, that is true. Putting stuff on their heads, yeah. Everyone
Who thinks that running... Oh, yeah?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, someone wrote running with the backpack on? That's really sad. Backpacks are great.
Backpacks are great, but, like, when you're running with a backpack, it, like, bounces and then you kind of don't have your balance quite right. It definitely does look silly. And you have to, like, hold onto the straps.
Yeah, okay, I see where you're coming from now. And you do look silly wearing all the straps that they give you at the front to prevent that. So you don't do it. So you look silly anyway.
Mm-hmm. Saying the word bubbles angrily, which is almost impossible. Bubbles.
I mean, I did try that when I was reading the responses. Yep.
Bubbles.
Bubbles. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
You know, you sound excited about bubbles. Just really forcefully excited.
I'm trying really hard to make a very serious face, but it doesn't work. No.
Someone said vacuuming in public? Which I don't...
Okay.
Don't know why you're vacuuming in public, but good for you. So,
Maybe there might be a janitor?
Maybe. Yeah. So I tried to just kind of scroll across all of those to get a good idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that it fit all 50 on here. But
Google needs to get a grip.
Get it together, yeah. Are you dead? Unfortunately, we have 6 dead people on the server. And even more terrifyingly, we have 27 people who didn't want to answer whether or not they were dead. How many vampires are hiding amongst us?
And maybe we could have like a Nerdfighteria dinner night. I'll provide the steak and lots of garlic.
Yeah. So, a little worried about y'all. How small and thin do you let a bar of soap get before you replace it? The person who submitted this question did not submit, like, what their thickness levels were, so I just made some up that I thought made sense without requiring people to take out a ruler and measure their soap.
I am concerned for the people who don't use bars of soap.
Well, there's liquid, like, body wash. Which I'm one of those people, I use just liquid body wash.
Oh God. What do you... Okay, so for the people who use book cover thickness or fingernail thickness, what do you do with it when you're done? Do you just...
Yeah.
Parade it, or...?
I know that some people will, like, save soap. They'll, like, put it in a container so that, like, you know, when soap is wet, it sticks to other soap and then it dries out, and it would just make a new bar of soap made out of the scraps of their other soaps.
That's quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wreck bars of soap. I just smush the whole thing.
Yeah. Until it goes. What would you name a typewriter? A lot of answers here. I'm just kind of slowly scroll through them so that folks can read all of them as they want to.
Marvin sounds like a cool name.
Marvin does sound like a good one. I like Chuck. It's the sound typewriters make. Someone got a typewriter for Christmas. I hope that this question, if you haven't settled on Edward, I hope that these responses are helpful.
I like the one person who's naming it semicolon.
Electronic letter toaster paper edition. Click clacks the third.
One person who thinks they're naming it Jeff.
I think they're they sound concerned with this question. Oh, we had 2 Typey McTypefaces, and one person who is very emphatic saying that all other answers are wrong. Keith. That is a terrible pun. Boo.
Wow.
I mean, it's a good pun, but it's a terrible pun. I have to categorically be against puns.
I am always for puns. I am fully support Keith.
I'm glad someone can. How many books are in your personal library? A lot of people with a lot of books.
No one owns 0 to 5. That is very impressive.
That's awesome. That, like, still, a lot of books, like, almost 3/4 have more than 50 books. Which, when you think about the amount of space that books take up, is a lot of books. I think I'm in the 30 to 50 range, but that's just counting what I actually keep on my shelf. I don't think that I can really say that I own the books that are in a box in my parents' attic anymore, because that will probably be going to a thrift store soon.
Looking at my shelf, I can see about 20, but if I open the door, I'm having a peek out, I can see probably about 150.
Jesus Christ, so there's all yours?
No, I share with about 5 other people. It's 3 or 4 people.
That makes sense. See, that makes sense to me.
It's not. We don't really read them all the time, but they're all books we don't want to get rid of, so they're good books.
Yeah. Owning lots of books is great. I don't want to deny that. It surprises me how many. Like, if we do this one again, we might need to have a 200 plus category. Yeah.
I do find it weird, though, we don't always own the full series.
Oh.
Like, of one I'm looking at right now, Lemony Snicket, we own 1 and 4, but not 2 or 3.
There's 12 books in that series. Aren't there? There's like 12 or 13.
There's 12, there's 13 in one, but I'm looking at the other one that only has 4. I guess I liked the first and the last, but none of the middle.
Interesting. That's an interesting problem to have. Are you now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Especially interesting that the no answers are in red. What does Google know?
I think Google knows everything now.
Google does know everything. That even the people who say they aren't in the Communist Party are actually in the Communist Party. And the smart people didn't want to answer directly. Scared of the McCarthyists behind the Nerdfighteria server. Favorite Disney movie? No, go ahead.
There's a couple I haven't heard of before.
Wait, really?
Like Swiss Family Robinson.
Really?
Hold on, I'm Googling it now. Maybe I have, but I don't think so.
Swiss Family Robinson strikes me as a very American kind of movie. Like, it does not surprise me that it would not have been popular outside of the US.
I have not seen that, I don't think. It looks... Oh, is that the film? There's a book. Is there a book?
I don't know if there's a book, actually. But it's a movie about just, like, a family who ends up on this desert island, and they build this really, like, wacky house out of bamboo, and it's got, like, this... I remember as a kid, they had this, like, water trough thing that would, like, lift water up through the different parts of the house and things like that, and it was just, like, a weird...
Yeah, there is a book.
Movie.
I've read the book. And so there you go.
Other than that, we've got a lot of people saying Mulan is one that I've seen come up a lot. A lot of Star Wars.
Star Wars Rogue One. I like that they're being more specific. Oh, someone would say Mulan, but they don't know if they've never actually seen their favorite Disney movie, Mulan.
All right.
Okay.
That is an answer to give. I hope you get a chance to see Mulan one day. It's a good movie.
I'm just surprised as to why it's their favorite?
Yeah. Who knows? Favorite day of the week. Saturday, no surprise, is high up there along with Friday. But equally popular to Friday is Wednesday, which is very interesting to me. What's so special about Wednesday, I wonder?
I'm surprised that it was mostly fairly spread, as in 6 people for Monday, 6 on Tuesday, and Sunday, and... Okay, those are the only 6s.
Yeah, but it's still like 6, 7...
It's, mostly reasonably spread. No Sunday? Oh, wait, no. Sunday was a 6.
Yeah. Weird.
Funny that at least for my screen size, Google isn't showing up the percentage for Tuesday.
Yeah, same here.
I
guess Google has something against Tuesday.
Poor Tuesday.
You'll do it. You can make it Tuesday. Some people love you. 6 people love you. Next up, celery, amazing or dusty water. This is following a debate that was had in the general server, the general channel. Which I don't know where it started. But the amazing versus dusty water people are fairly split. Technically, the amazing won the vote. But...
Well, that's sad.
You are a dusty water person?
Dusty water all the way. More of like a dribbly disgustingness. But, yeah.
Wow. You see, I don't like celery either, but dribbly disgustingness is a step further than I would have gone. So you're a dusty
water person?
I would call it a dusty water, but I think that I can blame my father for that one, because my mother loves it, but my father cannot stand it, and so I think I inherited his taste buds there.
I think Finn started the dusty water.
Wow. Finn... Well, Finn
they are the first person to say it in search.
Yeah. Honestly, it does not surprise me that Finn got involved in that. Finn is involved in everything in Nerdfighteria. Hardback or paperback books? Pretty evenly split amongst hardback and paperback, actually.
I'm surprised that audiobooks are so few.
I was about to say that, yeah. I feel like audiobooks have been growing lately, and I was expecting that number to be higher.
Especially with our demographic of younger people. Like, not adults, so they can listen to them.
Yeah.
Commutes. Oh, wait, hold on. Younger people commutes, no.
That's true. But, like, I feel like we were going where, like, younger people are more likely to use the kind of internet-based version, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I didn't... Oh, I guess this one's more of a hardback or paperback. But I didn't like, for this question, that you couldn't select both.
This is...
Because...
Yeah.
Yeah, some people do both, but not both paperback and hardback, but more ebook and paper and hard. And
this is true. This is... It should have been a thing where people could select multiple. You're correct. Another one that is terribly formatted for answer. Favorite facial expression of John. Where once again I'm just going to kind of scroll through it.
I think for this one it was a bit hard because we don't have set known John facial expressions aside from really Pizza John.
Yeah. Well, this was the census was posted right before the Happy Mustache John face became a thing.
I can see one person that responded with the emoji that we have for Happy John.
Yeah. Pizza Miss Mustache smile. Yeah, that's Happy John. A lot of pizza.
That's Happy John.
Yeah, a lot of pizza, Happy John, Puff Levels. Sharpie Face is up there, along with smiling. The puff, the panda smile. Go ahead.
What's that one? I was going to say, I wonder if the smile, they mean like a nice, genuine smile or a creepy John smile.
Yeah. Who's that? You know who John is. More puff. You know the one with the mustache. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people like the puff and the pizza mustache smile are definitely among people's favorites. Favorite book to put in your pants?
Lots of art.
Lots
or
of
at least
art, yeah.
At the top.
These are hard to hard to keep PG, but I guess the general idea of the joke is not PG. So I'll be honest, I am surprised we're seeing so much of Green Brothers books. I see abundance of Catherine's in there. A series of unfortunate events.
These are quite good.
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide is good.
That Fahrenheit one?
Or the Fahrenheit. Which book's that?
I think it's supposed to be Fahrenheit 451, but someone just forgot. Oh, Pooh gets stuck. Poor. Oh.
That was an innocent.
It was an innocent book. Oh. This is an interesting question, and there are some very good responses. You are correct. How many rubber ducks do you own? No surprise, most people don't own any. But we have.
I would say they're our parents of the group.
This is true.
Maybe.
I do want to ask the 4 people who said they have an absurd number of ducks. How many is it absurd? Because when I put that, I was like, more than 10? But let's just say.
I guess also you have to check what counts as a rubber duck because they sell like rubber octopus and stuff. So are we saying a traditional yellow duck or a octopusy or I don't know, other sea rubber bath thing?
That is a fair question. My personal instinct is to go just ducks, because I feel like that's a very specific category, and then everything else I would kind of call just like a bath toy.
Okay, good. I agree.
But who knows, with the people who answered this, they may have just a collection of various kinds of, dozens of rubber bath toys that all are in the kind of duck theme.
Mm. Well, I mean that, or we've had James Veitch doing this survey.
4 of them.
Maybe got enthusiastic, did it 4 times.
Next up, what do you think about the bog pyre? A lot of people have never heard of it.
Good.
Quick catch up. The bog pyre is a joke? ? That started in the general channel in the Nerdfighteria server when someone posted an invitation to come play in a bog. And very quickly, the bog pyre ballooned into a country of its own accord. You can actually read all about it in our archive channel, Bog Pyre, where bog chat just took over general, and it was spreading everywhere. They were getting mud on everything. So we quarantined it to a bog pyre channel, wherein the citizens of the bog pyre made a manifesto about their country, which has been preserved in that channel, and out of which we also now have the bog pyre flag as an emoji.
Well, yeah, you did a pretty good job there.
So yeah,
that's mostly it.
Yeah, it's a server meme, I think is the short answer. But the long one is interesting. Which Vlogbrothers related animal is your favorite? Overwhelmingly Hanklerfish.
Who is Marsha?
So Glenn and Dale from P4A. You know who Glenn and Dale are?
Yep.
Glenn King of the Gang.
But if you don't, there's the website.
This is true. Glenn with 4 N's, Dale with 4 A's. Glenn and Dale.
I think it's Who the Heck Are Glenn and Dale.
Who the Heck Are Glenn and Dale.com. Glenn with 4 N's, Dale with 4 A's. Yeah. And Marsha is their sister, Queen of the Marshes.
Oh.
She's not particularly well known, but I'm glad for her 3 supporters. Dale, though, only got 2 as opposed to 5 for Glenn. And Dale's supporters were late. This is another one that I was checking in regularly, and nobody was a fan of Dale for a long time.
So Dale's the late, non-interactive...
Dale's the late competitor. Poor Dale. But he's got his supporters now. And then the last question, what would your first action be if you became a monarch of Nerdfighteria? And we had a lot of interesting answers here, which I'm again just going to kind of scroll through slowly. I see free apples for everyone. I wonder who gave that answer. But yeah, lots of these are just abdicating the throne, whether in favor of democracy or of a different monarch. But these are all quite cool. Make someone else monarch, yep. I don't know, bum, new here, and feel this is going to suck out my soul quickly. I hope we don't suck out your soul. I hope this is an enriching place where you can enjoy yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah, most people just wanted to abdicate the throne immediately, whether to make it a democracy or to abdicate it to a different monarch.
Quite a few people wanted to have a big, huge meetup, or at least I think I saw a few people.
Mm-hmm. I did see a couple of people who wanted that as well, which is a lovely idea.
So that's nice.
And on that sentiment, thank you guys to everyone who sat through what is probably going to be a very long video of us going through all the data. Thank you to everyone who participated. And just...
Yeah, it was very fun.
Thanks for being in the server and being awesome.
Awesome. Oh, DFTBA.
DFTBA, yeah.